What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. What's going on, everybody? Once again, Steven Hyder, Gate City Sports Channel. So, if you are new to my channel, I think you've come to my channel during the right week because you're going to get a chance to see my own little style and flavor, what I bring to the table. Because this week in particular, guys, get ready for the film study. So if you're new to my channel, you like a guy who's going to use film, he's going to teach you a little bit about technique, he's going to give you some insights about the game that he's learned over the years, this might be the channel for you. If I can ask you a big favor, hit that subscribe button. And if you're an OG subscriber, you've been rocking with me for the longest time now, you all been out there promoting me, you know I love you guys, you know I appreciate everything y'all do for me. If you guys want to keep helping out, go ahead and hit that like button, y'all. All right, y'all, let's jump into today's topic. So today I want to roll out a new film segment. This film segment is basically what it's going to be called is the anatomy of a play, where I want to break down some of the bigger pivotal moments during the Eagles season, and I want to show you how we got to those plays. What did the coaching staff see? What did Carson Wentz see? Why did they go to those particular plays? How were they able to predict that they would be successful? And that's what we're going to get into today. So today, you know where we're going to start? We're going to start with those 50-yard bombs that Carson Wentz was throwing out there to Desean Jackson. So today's anatomy of the play, how Desean Jackson lit the Washington Redskins cover 2 defense completely up, how he burnt their ass with Desean Jackson. All right, y'all, let's jump into the topic.
Still pressure. Wentz just going to air it out, going way deep down the field.
All right, guys, let's get into it. Step 1, you're coming out onto the football field. You're Carson Wentz. What is the first thing you're looking at? Any quarterback, what do you think is the first thing that they look for? The first thing you look for is your Mike linebacker.
53! No, I'm not the Mike! Brooklyn! Not the Mike!
That's why if you really pay attention to like the audio on games, they don't always do this, but you'll hear them. They'll call out the Mike. They'll be like, you know, Mike 53, Mike 53, Mike 55, Mike 55, right? They're identifying the Mike because that Mike will dictate the route pattern, so your route tree, and it also dictates your blocking scheme, whether you're trying to slide protect, whatever you're going to do in terms of your blocking protection, especially when it comes to the running game. So it has emphasis both on the running game and it has emphasis on the passing game. So to give you an instance, if you got a 3, you know, if you're in what they call a 3-strong set, which the Eagles are in this one, right? And that Mike is on the basically your boundary side. So where the Eagles are right now, your boundary side would be the shortest distance to the sideline. If he's on the boundary side, then you're looking at 4 defenders, right? That's 4 defenders on one side of the field. So what do you think they're going to do? He's going to call that out, right? Like, Mike 53. I don't know who their Mike was in that point. I have to look at it again. But, you know, he'd be like, yo, Mike 53, Mike 53. He's letting the offensive line and he's letting those receivers know he's probably going to change up the route progression there, okay? First thing you're going to look for as a quarterback is you're looking for that Mike linebacker. Okay. The second thing that you're probably going to notice as a quarterback is when I'm looking at that Washington Redskin defense, the first thing I notice is that they went to a diamond front with 2 stand-up jokers. So a diamond front, guys, just means 1 defensive player for each lineman, right? So they're going to bring up everyone on the line, okay? With the Redskins, they're going to back off now. They're in a zone concept. I'm going to get to that. They're going to back off, right? So what they're trying to do is they're trying to create one-on-one matchups for those 3 guys that are rushing Carson Wentz, right? So they're trying to drop as many people as they can into coverage without showing Wentz that. They want Wentz to think like, okay, they're going diamond front. They want to go one-on-one and they want to beat us, right? Generally speaking, when you back someone off into a zone coverage like that, guys, what you're looking at is that you're trying to get a stunt, someone coming around on a stunt long. So you want one of those guys to back off a little slow. You don't want him to immediately back off into coverage. You want him to tie up a guard or somebody for a second. So that way the looper on a stunt can get around and get through one of those holes, okay? So he identifies the Mike. He identifies the diamond front, right? What's the next thing? He's going to look at the coverage. What does he see when he looks out there? He sees a cover 2. Easiest way to tell cover 2 from quarters, and quarters and cover 2 can be a bitch to identify between one another, guys. But the easiest way that you identify quarters coverage from cover 2 is in quarters coverage, you're playing quarters of the field, right? So there should be kind of even spacing between the cornerback, the strong safety, the free safety, and then the other corner. There should be kind of an even pattern there. The dead giveaway to me, anytime I walk up to the line and I was looking for cover two was I would see both the safeties would be outside the hash marks. So they're kind of playing towards the sideline more than you would expect, right? They're not inside those hash marks. They're on the outside. Take a look at the photo. I'll put a photo up here and you tell me, where are those two safeties? Those two safeties are what? They're outside those hash marks. Cover two. All right. I'm going to run the film again, and then we're going to jump into, once again, what Carson Wentz is seeing, because now we have to get into the particulars of what type of cover two defense are the Redskins in. All right, y'all ready? Let's get to that.
Still pressure. Wentz just going to air it out, going way deep down the field.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, three types of cover two defenses that, or coverage schemes that you kind of need to know. The first one is your standard, what they call zone under cover two. That's the one you see 99.9% of the time that you're playing, right? The second type of cover two defense you'll see is what they call either, generally it's referred to honestly in football circles as cover seven, but in layman's terms, it's really what it's called as cover two man under concept. Okay, so basically you draw a line out underneath and like say everyone to a, let's say 10 to 15 yard radius, right? All those guys are basically in man coverage. When they get past that point, that's when it opens themselves up, and that's where those two deep safeties take over. Okay, so it's kind of like an imaginary line in the sand, if you will, man under everywhere underneath that line. So your third type is the old Tampa Bay scheme, which is the Tampa 2 cover. That's where basically, once again, you have a zone under, but because your weakness when you're in a cover two is between the hash marks is really exposed. So what's one little wrinkle you can add to that? Well, you can play the cover two, which is to take your mic and he zips out there, right? Gets real deep back in his setting. And that basically takes away that deep seam. So let's take a look at this play. Let's see if you guys can diagnose exactly what type of cover two defense the Washington Redskins are throwing out there.
Still pressure. Wentz just going to air it out, going way deep down the field.
I know the angle probably wasn't the greatest, so I apologize for that. But basically what they're playing is that old Tampa 2 scheme where they're taking that middle linebacker and he's flying down the basically that seam area, right? He's going straight down in between those seams, trying to take that away. A lot of people call this cover two, right? It's commonly called the Tampa 2 cover two, right? I'm here to tell you, I don't know why they categorize it that because it's not cover two. You're playing thirds of the field. It's an adaptation of the cover three. So what you're doing is you're taking hypothetically a very athletic linebacker, your Mike, putting him in the Mike positioning, right? And he's shooting down the field. So he's taking away those areas between the hashes. Okay. So he's got that third of the field. And then the other two deep safeties are going to, one area, one deep flat, and the other one's going to the other deep flat. It's a cover three, really. I don't, like I said, guys, I really don't know why the hell they call it the cover two. I mean, it's got two deep safeties, but you're still playing thirds of the field. Nonetheless, look, Carson sees something. I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to give you the all 22 look, and you'll see exactly what Carson's seeing, which is if you're putting a linebacker on Desean Jackson, you're getting that ass burnt every single time. The Mike linebacker doesn't get deep enough, and he bites on Alshon Jeffrey's route. Guys, this wasn't a super complex, progression for Wentz to go through. So he doesn't have to go through, normally when you see a 3-by set like that, one of those three guys is going to go deep. The other two are going to be kind of like hot read. So they might run like a little kind of like stuttered, out route. Another one might run a hook route or a curl route, something like that. Like there's going to be hot options there with one kind of challenging that safety. The Eagles, they keep it simple, even though it's not like a simple like three read progression. So they're giving Carson Wentz the full progression. So he's got the full field progression going on here. But what they're doing to keep things simple is they're just breaking it down into layers across the middle. You want to attack between the hashes. So the first thing is you have, Ertz kind of running a really short kind of in route, right? He's only going a few yards and coming across Carson's face. So, that's one level that you're checking that zone coverage. The second level is you got Nelson Aguilar, who's going right around the first down marker, checking that second level of the zone. Then you got a guy about 5-10 yards past that first down marker, and Alshon Jeffrey he's running an in route. And then you got a third guy, which is going to be Desean Jackson, who's running that deep kind of, yeah, it looks like to me as if it's an option kind of route there. You could have run a seam, or you could have run basically a flat, depending on where you want to put it. It's more of a flat than a seam, but either or, it doesn't really matter. Or you could turn it into a post. And he turns it into a post because the middle linebacker bites on Alshon's route. So that corner, unfortunately, is stuck trying to stick with Alshon, but unfortunately, he's got outside leverage, not inside leverage. So what does Carson do? He throws him open. He throws it to the middle of the field and let Jackson go get it. Number one, it's a speed mismatch. And number two, there's no protection. There's no help because the linebacker got beat. Carson saw that. He saw it really quickly. And I'll go into one more tip that kind of helps you see this. But the Mike linebackers sometimes can give away what kind of cover two defense you're going to be in. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you their Mike linebacker. The Mike linebacker is playing dead center of the boundary side and the field side. So in a very basic, what you would call like a cover two zone under principle, what most teams would run, what gives away the Mike linebacker in this particular formation to let us know that they're probably not going to be playing that, they're going to be in that Tampa 2, is because he's not cheating over towards what's considered the field side of the offense. So where those trips are, that's the field side, right? That's the greatest distance, right? So you got the boundary side, which is your shorter distance between the sideline and the formation. You got the field side, which is the furthest formation from the center to the sideline. So he doesn't cheat towards that field side where the three receivers are, where that trips, the stack set of the trips are. Now, if he had cheated over there, that would probably tell us, okay, they're in a basic cover two defense. Because what they're basically trying to do is take away any of those hooks, curls, any of those really hot reads that are going to be right across the middle, kind of taking away one element of the passing game on Wentz. So because they don't do that, obviously the first thing that's going through Wentz's head is, okay, this is more than likely because of how far off they are. This would be really odd for a man concept. And he did motion Alshon in closer, tighter to the formation. So immediately he's kind of seeing, okay, they're off coverage. This looks like zone, but the Mike isn't cheating towards the field side. So this is probably cover two. And then the Mike, linebacker makes a big mistake, and I think he gives away too much too quickly. He immediately starts racing back before Wentz hikes the ball, which is immediately going to give Wentz an idea that, okay, like, I think I have the right read to beat this. So this is a mistake. This is bad coverage. And Wentz sees it. And I got to tell you, man, Wentz's arm, Desean Jackson's speed, this is the vertical offense at its best. This is the element we were missing for the majority of the season. And now I want to get into one player. You guys keep asking about my drafts, about wide receivers. I want to give you one player that I think could step into this Philadelphia Eagles offense. And he has the speed and the dynamic abilities of, I don't want to say he's a Desean Jackson, but he has that capabilities. Of course, you got to, you got to develop and you got to produce. If you're going to be the next Desean Jackson, you got to really produce. But I think this guy's got the skill set.
And pass is caught. Reagor.
Jalen Reagor, he's a wide receiver out of TCU. He's one of these short, shifty kids that's kind of like Desean Jackson is, where he's about 5'11-ish, 195-ish, 200-ish pounds. The difference is some people are only really viewing him as a slot receiver. This kid can play the slot, but he can also play the Y, and he's been playing the Y at TCU. And I got to tell you, man, the reports I'm hearing is this kid is a 4.3 speed guy who's got a 40-some-inch vertical. If that's the truth, I got to tell you, man, I'm a little concerned that his production fell a little bit this year, but I just think it's because TCU was so bad this year, just wasn't a good football team. But if you go back and you look at some of the plays this kid made, like, this kid was special, man. This kid has got some deep speed. These are the type of players I feel the Eagles need to draft, and I'm not scared away from the fact that he had a drop in production this season because I think it has a lot to do with the overall talent of the football team. And you know what? If that drop in production makes some teams back off of him and this kid falls into the second round, this is the kind of kid I can see the Eagles going and targeting because this kid's got the potential to be a very good football player. He's got that breakaway speed. He's got that game-changing dynamic speed. He tracks the ball pretty well. He goes and locates the ball pretty well from what I've seen on film. This is a kid I would at least keep my eyes on if I was the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'll give you a look at him actually going up and using that vertical and going and getting a football. This is only a 5'11" kid.
Duggan taking a shot downfield, wide open. And what a...
Now, this is just one prospect I've had the chance to watch a little bit of film on, but I got to be honest with you guys. I like what I see out of Jalen Rieger. I don't know if they call him by Reagor or whatever. This kid he's got the elite level speed, and this kid can get up and go get the football. I think this kid is a very similar ball player to Desean Jackson. I think this kid is way more than a slot receiver. I think some teams are way off the mark. I think this kid he's a wide like Deshaun that can play in the slot. I think they're misjudging him based upon just his height and his speed and not looking at that vertical, not looking at his ability to go track the deep ball. Like this kid would add a lot of like dynamic playability to the Philadelphia Eagles. Look, there's a long way to go. I've seen a little bit of film on some people. I promised some people I was going to take a look at T. Higgins. I'm just now diving into that film. I liked the little bit I've seen from him, but I want to get a little more familiar with him before I give a seal of approval there. And then there's also Chenault, the kid from Colorado, the big kid, Anquan Bolden type, 6'2", 220-pounder, physical guy. I've heard that his YAXs, yards after catch, and yards after contact, like I heard this kid is phenomenal. So it looks like the Eagles, sticking at 21, probably can get good talent at corner and at wide receiver. And they might even have the opportunity if someone is hurt and one of these quarterbacks slip or something happens like that, and someone's willing to jump up a few spots for them and to give the Eagles a bunch more picks, and it's not. I got to tell you, man, I kind of like where the Eagles are. I like the fact they could stay there and probably get a really good player or trade back and get a kid like Jalen, Reagor if he slips into the late first or early second, depending on how the Eagles navigate their draft. You can identify a kid like that. I mean, I got to be honest, man. I think there's going to be some real opportunity to improve the overall athleticism of this football team, the dynamic play, making ability of this football team through this draft. I hope the Eagles are cognizant of this because there's a lot of guys out there that I think that would be really big upgrades ahead of what we've been playing recently. But that's my content for today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. So if you guys can do me a favor, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully you guys like this type of content. We got a lot coming up. Philly Fresh, I did hear you. I am working on that Jason Peters video, man, but I'm like a fine wine, man. I'm trying to let it age. I got to watch a lot of film before I give a complete breakdown on that guy. So that's coming up. All right, y'all. Peace. I'm out here. Y'all know what time it is. EAGLES. Let's go Eagles, guys.